Radio personality and blogger Brent Lindeque, also known as the Good News Guy, joins us now to discuss his parents' progress with COVID-19. Brent, thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be on the show. I love the work that you guys are doing, bringing news like this to South Africa. And it's really cool to hang out with you in studio while I'm social distancing at home. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty ideal because, we have the best of both worlds here. We are still listening to the president, but we're also keeping connected, which is what we're all about on Afternoon Express. But also, Brent, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing your perspective from a son, having your parents come out on the other end, recovered from COVID-19. So firstly, we are so happy that your parents are making such a remarkable recovery. What does this sense of relief mean to you and to your family?
Sure. Well, first off, my mom's asked me to say this because the Facebook post that I put up, I said my 60-year-old parents, and she just wants everybody to know that she's still 59. So we can't call her 60. She didn't want that. But in reality, when we got the news, I was absolutely shattered. Doctors, scientists, the clever people of the world say that you are most at risk if you are over 55. And that's our greatest fear, right? Is that we want to keep our families safe. We want to make sure our parents are safe. We want to keep our grandparents safe. I haven't seen my mom or dad in over 120 days. And the first thought that went through my head when I got the phone call that they tested positive for COVID is I might never see them again. Like that's the fear that we have. To know that they got through COVID-19, they had mild symptoms. My mom sort of explains it like a cold. It was just a cold that they had. And to know that they've made it through and that they are on the recovery side has changed my perspective to this virus and this pandemic that we're going through. And it's just made me so incredibly thankful. It's like there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Some people are going to survive this, and I'm lucky enough that both my parents did. And that just makes my heart warm.
Now, when the lockdowns did start, however, you and your parents put strict social distancing measures in place. Now, tell us a little bit about the preparation into lockdown.
Yeah, so I actually went into self-isolation about 2 weeks before the rest of South Africa. And the reason for that is because one of my very, very good friends, one of my best friends, her name is Fawn Rogers. She was born with cystic fibrosis and she had a double lung transplant 7 years ago. So for her, looking at my parents who are over 55, yes, they are at risk. But for Fawny, she is completely at risk. And as a group of friends, we all decided to do the responsible thing and to make sure that we were socially distanced and that we weren't interacting with the outside world to keep our friends safe, really. And that's become, it's difficult. We've all, I think, in South Africa gone on this emotional roller coaster. Self-isolation is a bizarre thing. You're staying away from your normalcy. It's the loss of normalcy. It's not being able to see friends, family, not being able to engage, interact, go to restaurants, do all the things that you used to do. So I, going into lockdown, thought that I was quite well prepared, but quickly realized that mentally, it's a big task to take on. And it's made me realize that what we are going through globally is a massive trauma. Everybody is trying to deal with it in their own way. They're trying to keep their mental wellness here, but it is traumatic. The loss of normalcy, the fear of the unknown, not understanding the virus or the pandemic or what it could do to our bodies, should we get it. It's all very, very overwhelming. Yeah. And I think what I've learned during this time as well is just to be extra kind, to be kinder than necessary, whether it's on social media or writing an email or whatever you're doing, to be kinder than necessary, because we really don't know what traumas people are facing right now in their own battle against lockdown, COVID-19 and the pandemic.
This is kind of weird, but I love to think of it as the virus that brought us all together. It's now made us not only think about ourselves and try think of what the other person is going through. Now, what was your exact thoughts and feelings when you got that call, hearing that your parents have contracted COVID-19?
So my dad is my stepdad, but he is my dad. I don't see him any differently. And the reason why I bring that to the forefront is because my birth father, he passed away from malaria 10 years ago. And it was really traumatic for our family. We got the diagnosis that he had malaria on the Monday. And then on the Tuesday afternoon, while I was at work, it was the afternoon, my phone rang. And I knew what the phone call was. And I picked up the phone and I heard that my father had passed away. And when I'm getting emotional, when I got the phone call a couple of weeks ago, I felt the same feelings. It was that worry that you're going to lose your parents. And, you know, it's hard to face that. But luckily, they survived and they've recovered. And I'm just thankful for that.
It truly is emotional. You know, I can feel the emotion coming, even though we are through a screen here. As ubuntu, as people, you know, our heart just bleeds thinking of what you've had to go through and overcome, having to celebrate your biological father's life, and then also praying that the same doesn't happen to your stepfather and your mother. So I'm so grateful that this is not your reality and you are still with them today. So after learning this, how did you choose as a son not to spread negativity and keep your parents' spirits up?
You know, that it was so important. So I think that they needed it. And everybody needs some sort of positivity. It helps with your healing. And I don't know if me being positive or phoning them 11 times a day to just chat to them and have conversations and spend time with them, I don't know if that helped them through it. But I definitely think that if we approach this pandemic and the virus with a little bit of hope, it might just help everybody a little bit to get a little bit through it, maybe, hopefully.
Thank you so much, Brent, for sharing your story with Afternoon Express and our family here. So, Brent, you know, finally, a lot of families are going through this right now. What words do you have for them of encouragement or any message that you want to send out there?
I think the biggest thing is that we just need to be kinder with each other and ourselves. And it is going to be tough. Not everybody is going to get mild symptoms. There are people that are going to get severe symptoms. We are going to lose loved ones. It's happening. The death toll's real. But I also want people to know that the recovery rate is also real. And if you're ever feeling overwhelmed, I know we all go onto that website every day and check the numbers. We're all doing it. If you're doing that, make sure you are cognizant of the recovery number as well, because as much as our cases are going up, the recoveries are also going up. And I think that's vitally important for our mental wellness.
Let's keep everything into perspective here and keep that balance alive. Thank you so much, Brent, for sharing your story with us on Afternoon Express. And please, may you send our love to the parents there, umama no tata, and say that we are grateful that they've made it out victorious.
I will do. Thank you very much for having me.
South Africa, if you are like Brent and you have some positive stories coming out of COVID-19, please do share in the love and the positivity on our social media platforms, on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Use that hashtag Afternoon Express.